Good morning. All right, I'm going to show you guys how I make my coffee. I use Cafe Bustelo because it's a nice espresso blend. It's a grind. It's a smaller, finer grind for making the coffee the way that I do. I don't use a drip percolator. I don't use a French Express. I don't use a percolator, the percolating coffee pots. What I use is this simple little metal pan on my induction burner. And some water, about a coffee cup's amount. Okay. And I read somewhere that there's a little island off of Turkey somewhere that drinks their coffee this way, makes their coffee this way. So, and no one has heart disease. What happens is you bring it to a full rolling boil, like almost a boil over 3 times. And what that supposedly does is it cooks it allows all the oils that are antioxidants in the coffee to get into the water more. Instead of just a quick drip through where you get a light taste of coffee. This is going to be super strong. So I use like a really strong homemade nut milk creamer. Or, a lot of whole milk, like equal steamed milk. Steamed milk and coffee. My induction burners are awesome. I don't know if you can tell. You can see the little heat swirls rising already. I literally just put this on the stove. It's like 3,700 watts of pure freaking cooking power. All controlled very precisely. So this is on the boil. So all I do is I put a scoop of coffee in my water. And I give it a stir. And I'm going to bring this to a boil. Watch for boil over. Stay with it. It's not something you can walk away from. It only takes a couple minutes to make. It's not that, big of a deal. So, already you can hear it start to boil. The rumble a little bit. And I'm just going to stir it until it actually comes to a full boil over kind of thing. And with an induction burner, even any burner, just lift a pot off. If you need to control the heat and keep the boil up. If it starts boiling up and it's getting close to the top, lift the pot off the burner and it'll immediately start falling back down. So, give me just a second. Okay, while my coffee is getting ready to boil, actually there it goes. It's going to boil up. Now watch, I'm just going to lift it up. See how it falls right back down? Okay. You can adjust your heat, but you want a big full rolling boil. Like 2 or 3 times. I'm going to just bring my heat down here. Okay. Because I'm going to give it a minute and let it kind of cook for a second while I show you how to make the nut milk creamer. Alright. I think that's going to be okay. You can let it go. Starts to boil up again. It's not boiling over. So it looks like we got a good level. Let's go down one more. Put it on a 6 just in case. We don't want it to boil over while we're making our nut milk. Okay, so for the nut milk, I have some water. I'm going to put it in my NutriBullet. It's not super precise, just put some water in there. You want to leave enough space. Your line's like up here somewhere, so you want to leave enough space for the nuts and the sugar. So I'm going to take some cashews. Right? I just grabbed these from Aldi. Specialty cashews. Probably, I don't know, 10 or 15 cashews in there. You don't need a lot. Okay? Then I'm going to reach over here and get some sugar. And put some sugar in there. Right? A little bit. Like maybe a teaspoon or so. And I actually add some coconut oil to this. I'm not super precise with measurements. I just a tablespoonful of coconut oil in there. This will emulsify the coconut oil into the nuts. This emulsifies the nuts and the coconut oil into the water. And then what happens is with milk, you have a liquid that has fats and other things kind of in it. They grow that way. So what we're doing here is we're just adding the nuts and the coconut oil and all that to our NutriBullet. Okay, so I put the lid on. I'm going to flip this over and give it a whir. It's going to get loud. What I'm trying to show you here is the stages. There's still a little bit of graininess to the milk, right? You see the grains in it? You just want to keep doing that until it actually looks like milk. It's coating the glass more. It's more emulsified into it. You can kind of see the top looking a little creamy, right? So just keep doing that until it's emulsified. What I do is while it's blending, I just give it a little shake and see how it coats and falls down the mug. See how smooth that looks? It doesn't look real grainy anymore, right? Now I used a little bit of water and a lot of nuts, so this is going to be a thicker cream. If you want a glass of cashew milk, use more water, a little less, you know, like use more water to the 10 to 15 nuts. Okay, and play with it. You're going to make it the way you like it. I like it a little bit creamier and thicker. I add the coconut oil and make it a little bit denser. If you want a big glass of cold cashew milk, just add your a little bit more water to it. If you want to make it chocolate milk, toss in some cocoa powder and a little extra sugar or some Nesquik, and you've got fresh homemade cashew milk. You can also use walnuts, brain food, pecans, whatever nuts you like, whatever's, you know, in season or local. But basically you're emulsifying all the nut meat into the milk and into the water. And when it falls smooth, see how it looks like milk, how it coats the cup? That's how I know it's done for me. If you take it out and you stir a spoon and taste and it feels a little grainy, keep doing it. Mine's taking a little bit longer because I'm using the milling blade because I wore out my seal on my grinding blade. It kind of leaks around the bottom now, so I've got to get a new. I've used it too much, so it makes a mess. So I got to get a new one of those. So this is taking a little bit longer than it would normally with the right blade. Just heads up. Alright, fresh cashew nut milk creamer to go in my coffee. Set that right there. I'll have to open it in a minute. Alright, my coffee's just been over here cooking. Like I said, I read an article that said that boiling your coffee like this is what the Turkish do. Typically what they'll do is they'll add some cardamom to it and then some sugar. Sometimes I think they cook it with the cardamom and the sugar and then they strain it or let it settle. So all you do is, you don't even really have to strain this. If you just let it sit, all the grounds will settle down to the bottom, and then you just pour off the top. So we're going to let it sit for a few minutes. It really doesn't take long for it to settle, but I'm getting impatient. I want to show you this video, finish it. So I have a mug here so you can see. And then I have like a fine mesh strainer that just helps catch some of the coffee grinds that I miss, just because, I don't know. And then I just take it and I just pour it through here. And if you can see, it's pretty good. There's nothing happening. Most of the grounds are in the bottom, right? So you'll start seeing a little bit. Now, I just pour it because I've got the strainer, right? Catch a little bit of the extra, but most of them fall down the bottom. They don't typically drink the last sip of their coffee because that's where all the tiny little coffee grounds are, right? Let me open my nut milk here. All right, fresh nut milk into my coffee, right? Boiled coffee. See? You know what I forgot? The cane sugar. It's actually good because you've put some sugar in the milk, and you can do that. That's not a problem. But I actually like my stuff really sweet. I'm kind of a sugar junkie. I use raw honey or pure cane sugar, and so far haven't had adverse reactions or anything bad from it. I'm not a fan of agave myself, but if you like agave to sweeten it, or stevia, those just don't seem to do well with my body. Cane sugar and honey, maple syrup's fine, but you have the maple flavor. So if you like, the other thing too is, don't spend money on $6 on one of these, $5 on one of these coffees. If I want a pumpkin spice latte, I take some seasoning from my cupboard and add some pumpkin spice seasoning to my coffee. Even when you're actually making it, boil the flavor into the actual coffee. Anyway, that's my morning coffee. Oh yeah, perfect. It's creamy. It's delicious. It's vegan. Happy drinking, y'all.